Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a weekly gaming news show. This is episode 103 for the week ending June 3rd, 2018. We are your hosts with the most. My name is Trenell, and I'm here as always with the homeboy Todd. How you doing, Todd?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm doing all right. I've been a bit under the weather, so excuse my coughing and my nasally sound and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. But
I mean, it's
I'm
been
here.
103 episodes. This has not been the first time one of us has been atrociously sick on camera. So no worries. I think the last sick person on camera was me. I was like sneezing up a storm, but we gonna get you through this, man. If I have to carry you, I will. But we got some news for you guys, some stories that we want to talk about, some updates to some previous stories that we talked about in previous episodes, and I think that's where I want to go ahead and start. So, Boogie, why don't you go ahead and introduce the updates and corrections segment of the podcast?
Yeah. So basically, what we do here, if we make a mistake, we go back and fix it, or if there's an update to a story, especially a pretty big story that we followed, we'd like to give that here.
Right.
We got a couple of updates. The first update we have is the Call of Duty swatting incident that happened back in December.
Out of Wichita,
Out of
Kansas.
Yep. Led to the death of a 28-year-old Andrew Finch.
Mm-hmm.
There were three people that have been charged. Tyler Barris, and Viner and Gaskell. Tyler Barris, what are the other two people? I had the names right in front of me. Oh, here, Shane Gaskell and Casey Viner.
Okay.
They've all been charged. They were accused of having an argument over a $1.50 bet in Call of Duty. The SWATastic kid, which is Tyler Barris, he made the SWAT call, and he's been charged with involuntary manslaughter, which is the biggest charge all of them are getting. And Viner and Gaskell are getting similar charges as well.
Right. So the main guy behind it, the one we talked about last week, the one that actually called in the bomb threat to the FCC
And FBI.
and the FBI. So that guy, he's getting the involuntary manslaughter in this particular case. So all three of them are getting that.
All three of them.
Okay.
All three of them are going to get charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Okay. So
And that's up to 11 years in prison.
right, and that was the big question coming out of this story, like especially like towards the end of our coverage of it, was the other people that were involved. Do they deserve time? Should they be punished or penalized? And it looks like the justice system is going to go ahead and take those guys down as well.
But
I mean,
the problem with that, the problem or the reason they should be charged in this case is that they gave the address.
true that. Yeah, they're the ones that actually gave the address, not knowing that it wasn't. They probably didn't know that it was a real address, but that doesn't matter.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't matter. This was a serious call. Like when you're calling the SWAT team, it's like that's a serious event that has to take place. It takes a lot of time and logistics and resources and manpower,
Right.
and taxpayer money, and it led in the death of a father,
Exactly.
and husband. So
Exactly.
for everybody is gonna get their just desserts.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is good. It means that in some cases the justice system actually does work the way it was intended, and it's a good thing to see. And I guess it's a good way to close the chapter on this particular story. We've been covering it ever since it first broke, and so I guess this is a good way to just close the book on this and just move on from it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you say, I hope that they all three have the book thrown at them, just to make an example out of them.
Exactly.
Swatting has been a problem for a while. I mean, there's been streamers that have been swatted live on air.
Right.
So it's a big problem. It's dangerous, and like you said, it's a waste of resources.
Yeah, it's freaking scary too. I couldn't imagine getting swatted. It's freaking ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we told you guys that we would cover this story, and it looks like it's met its logical end. So we can go ahead and move on from it. But we do have a second update from a story that we covered last week. So let's jump into that now.
So Nintendo announced a second Switch last week. Basically, it's a Switch without the dock and connection cables. Basically, they want you to buy, instead of having two docks, they want you to have two Switches.
Right.
Which I guess makes sense somewhere, but I haven't figured that one out. But they have announced that there are no plans to release the second Switch bundle outside of Japan.
Right,
So
because it's a freaking ripoff.
Yeah, it's a Japanese only item.
Okay.
So I mean, if when we go real quick through the details, you get the Switch. I think it's what, $30? No, $50 less. Without the dock. You don't get the dock, you don't get the charge cable, and you do not get the HDMI cable. You just get the Switch and a pair of Joy-Cons.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess this makes sense for this to be a Japan only thing. It doesn't make business sense here in America for you to pay to pay more for a dockless Switch than what you really should, because the dock isn't worth that much. Right. So it doesn't make sense for them to bring it out here. Plus, there's plenty more people in Japan that are using the Switch as the handheld device. I feel like when they made this hybrid console, that was the intention for it to like be taken on the go. A lot of people that play games in America don't have a place to take this on the go. Like if I'm on the go, I'm driving my car. I can't play the Switch. I'm not taking public transportation or anything like that. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense over here.
Yeah, the only people that are taking the Switch on the go are kids mostly.
Kids mostly, yeah. But any adult gamers is like,
most of the times they're driving. I mean, I guess there's a market in like the big metro areas like New York, LA, maybe. But for the most part,
not nearly as big of a market as Japan.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because that's all they do is public transportation over there.
And here in the United States, the logical thing is to have multiple docks in one Switch, because most people have two or more TVs in their house, so you can have the dock on each TV and drop it in that way. So
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can switch your setup or whatever, however you want. Yeah, that's actually pretty dope. But those are two updates to two previous stories that we covered. If you ever catch us slipping, which is not rare, but if we're ever like mistaken on any kind of stories, or if there are any updates to any stories, be sure to reach out to us and let us know. We'll be more than willing to make that update or make that correction here in this segment. And as always, you can reach us on our social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. You can also leave comments in the comment section of wherever it is that you're watching this content, whether it's on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever. We always look at our comments, so make sure that you reach out to us and let us know what you guys think about that. I'm gonna be carrying Boogie through this entire show, man. It's all good though. By the way, I do want to remind you guys that if you're watching us live, because we are live streaming on multiple platforms, we're on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, and Facebook. If you want to ask us any questions, gaming related or pop culture related, we haven't had the Deadpool discussion yet, so it'll be really cool to have that. If you want to ask us any questions, you can do so by typing in hashtag Ask AWGNS in chat, or you can post it on Twitter, because we do monitor the hashtag. Ask us anything that you want to ask us, and if we get it during the show, then we'll answer them during the show later on in a segment dedicated to that. But with that said, let's go ahead and get things started with our weekly icebreaker. And this is a question between the two of us to get a sense of where we are on certain gaming related and sometimes pop culture related topics. So let's go ahead and get into that. This question comes from Boogie. So why don't you go ahead and introduce it? What we got?
Right. So I'm not sure if I've asked this. It sounds like I may have asked this question before. So if I have, this is just a refresher. But of all the consoles you've owned, what has been your favorite console?
And you know what? I think we've actually asked this question, and I'm not sure what I said last time, but I'm going to say my number one favorite console of all time, it has to be the Xbox 360.
The 360.
The 360 was probably the best like console life cycle. I mean, it did have its problems, of course, the red ring of death and all that. But as far as the game's library, as far as the online component, it's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to think of anything else being my favorite. I do have a top 5 though. The PlayStation 4 is definitely up there, man. I've been having so much fun with my PS4 lately. With and it's all thanks to the exclusives.
Right.
Just the only place that you can have those experiences. So PlayStation 4 is definitely there on the top 5. Dreamcast, of course, because I'm a Sega fanboy. Sega Genesis is going to be in there. And if I have to put one Nintendo console, it'll probably be the 64.
You didn't have to. But.
I didn't have to, but yeah, the 64 was legit, and I think that was probably one of the last like commanding like presence of from Nintendo in my opinion, because after the N64, you know, it was all about PlayStation and Xbox. You know, the GameCube didn't really compete much. So yeah, those are my consoles of choice. What about you?
I can't just really disagree with you with the 360 just because of what it did. It really changed the gaming market, and how games were played and the features available on the game.
Yeah.
Especially when they started adding the voice chat and sticking the headsets in there. Because remember, for PlayStation 3 for a long time didn't have voice chat.
Nope.
So I mean, that's definitely a top one. I think, I don't know. I'm a nostalgic guy, and probably my favorite, the console I had the most fun on was probably a Sega. I'm a Sega fanboy as well. I was the Sega Genesis.
The Genesis, yeah. You cannot be a fan of gaming if you don't either have the Genesis or the Super Nintendo in your top 5 consoles like ever. Like something's wrong with you.
Yeah, the Sega Genesis definitely I think was my favorite. I had so much fun with it, and the close second was a Super Nintendo. It's just because in my neighborhood, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter was a big thing.
Oh yeah,
and we would be bouncing to each other's houses and playing Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. And Street Fighter, the Street Fighter of choice was on Super Nintendo. The Mortal Kombat of choice was on Xbox. I mean,
Sega Genesis. Yeah,
so, yeah.
My only thing with Street Fighter on Sega was like you had to have the 6-button controller.
Yep.
If you had the 3-button controller, like
you're toast.
You're toast. It wasn't a good experience, and that was because the Super Nintendo had 4 face buttons and then 2 trigger buttons.
2 triggers, yeah.
Or bumpers, or I don't even know what they called them back then. Then.
Yeah, bumpers. They called them the shoulder buttons.
Shoulder buttons, okay, yeah. So you had 6 buttons. So you had like the full move list. I think on the Genesis, if you wanted to switch between punches and kicks, you had to press the start button.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to pause, you had to press start twice in a row, and that's how you pause the game.
It's weird.
It was a weird control scheme, and I was really happy when Sega decided to give you the 6-button interface. It's probably one of my favorite controllers is the Sega controller with the 6 buttons. Yeah. But yeah.
If I had to do a quick top 5, it'd be the Sega Genesis, Xbox 360, and I'm gonna go super old school here.
Oh Lord,
the Atari 5200.
52, not the 26.
Not the 26. The 26, I didn't actually own it. I think it was my cousin that owned it.
Okay.
The 5200 was the first console I personally ever owned.
Okay.
And dude, I spent so much time on Defender and Centipede. My mom was actually a Centipede champ. She would come and wreck my scores. I was really upset about it. But I took a lot of time on a Centipede, and so the Atari 5200 would be one. The Dreamcast, just because
the Dreamcast was life, man.
It was so ambitious, and it's disappointing. And I don't know what would be my 5th. Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Nintendo.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, those are our favorite consoles. We would love to hear what your guys' favorite console, especially you, Morijin, who says the Wii U was the best console of all time. Shouts out to Morijin for always speaking the truth. No, I'm just kidding. But we would love to know what you guys think. So let us know down in the comment sections what is your favorite console, and also give us your top 5 as well. Top 5 consoles of all time. And maybe next week or in another show we'll do our most hated consoles, our least favorite. We can do that. That might be a little fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and move on and start getting into the news, because there's actually a lot.
Yes, it's a ton. It's a ton that we decided not to even talk about because
it was just too much. So let's go ahead and get started. We got some quick hits for you. These are short little lightning round style stories that don't necessarily deserve a deep dive, but we do want to bring it up. And the first story is kind of a update because we talked about this before, and it's the Atari VCS. We mentioned last time that it was being funded, like they had changed over to a crowdfunding model,
right,
for getting the console out there, and apparently it's been a Huge success.
Yeah.
Boog, you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so they launched their Indiegogo. It's on Indiegogo because Indiegogo is worldwide, where Kickstarter usually is for, I think, United States and Western Europe. Um, but they launched their Indiegogo campaign, and within the first couple of days, they've got just under. Oh, let me look at my script because I have the numbers here.
Okay.
They got just under 9,000 backers and just over $2 million.
Okay.
In funding for the Atari VCS, and there's 3 levels. There's actually like 5 levels. There's one level that gets you the console itself, that's $199. There's another level that gets you the console and both controllers, which is the highest level, which is $399. There's a couple levels in between that. And then there's a level that gets you, and here, finally, I got it up. Okay, so there's a $29 level for just the Atari Classic controller, which is the classic joystick with single button. There's the $49 for the modern controller, which is basically an Xbox clone controller.
Yeah.
There's a $59 version with both one of each controller. Then there's the $199 version that has just the Onyx Atari VCS, which is the one with the black front. There's a $229 version, that's the Onyx with the classic controller. $279 for the Onyx and modern controller, and then $339 for the Onyx. I mean, not the Onyx, but the wood panel and 2 controllers, both the modern and classic controller.
Right.
So they have quite a few levels.
Yeah, reminds me of the 360 days where they had like multiple like tiers of the same console.
Yeah.
With like drastically like different features and aesthetics and whatnot. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Apparently there's about 9,000 people out there that are really interested in it. And looking at the site now, I'm looking at it right now as of this recording. There's 9,433 backers, $2.449 million.
That's a lot of money for a console that not a lot of people knew anything about until very recently, because in the launch or reveal, it wasn't the reveal trailer, I think it was the launch trailer for the Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, they gave a little bit more insight as to what the Atari VCS will be doing. So not only will it have the capacity to play classic games, but it will be playing modern games as well. Is what was said.
What's said, yeah, and they listed a bunch of partners, like developer partners, on the site somewhere. And I mean, there's no big name developers, but there are some definite known indie developers that's in there.
Right. So you're not just going to be playing like old school, like 8 or 2-3-bit games. You will be able to put some of the power inside of this console to use. So that was a big question that we had last time, was because they gave us the specs, but they didn't tell us like what exactly we'll be playing on here. So it's good to know that we will be able to play some kind of modern game. So I guess we can finally say that this is somewhat of a Steam box style situation going on here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, not much more to go on. I mean, when is it expected to actually like start shipping out?
July 2019 is what they have as the expected ship date for all of your orders. So it's still a year. It's a year out before you're able to get your hands on this thing.
Okay, so can't get your hands on it just yet, but the pre-orders are there. It's been a pretty big success if you ask me. I don't know. I'm still not planning on getting it. What about you? You're the only one that has an Atari in his top 5. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, I have some interest in it. I still want to see more. I don't know. I don't care if I have a fall wood grain on the front of it. So I definitely would like to see more of what it's going to be.
Yeah. Like, can this be an alternative to playing games on Steam or whatever? I don't know.
Is it worth having? Or
is it worth having?
Is it just going to be a big paperweight?
Right. Exactly. We have a few more quick hits, so just let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And this one is actually pretty important. Boogie, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce this one.
So EA Sports, Electronic Arts. Everybody knows EA is the owner of many major sports franchises. They have an NBA franchise. They have FIFA FIFA, which is probably one of the largest, if not the largest single sports game franchise in the world. Madden franchise, which is pretty huge in itself.
Yep.
But one of the franchises they had was the PGA Golf. For a long time, it was Tiger Woods until he got into his trouble.
Yeah.
And they moved it over to Rory McIlroy. Well, it looks like EA has either bowed out. It doesn't say specifically, but either they bowed out or they lost the PGA Tour license. Mm-hmm. So they will no longer be producing a licensed PGA game. In fact, last month they pulled Rory McIlroy's PGA Golf from EA Access and all and all online. So you can't buy it anymore. They pulled it down because they lost the license to sell it. I mean, obviously, if you have the game, you have the game, but you can no longer buy it. Right. And the reason this has happened is because the golf club, which was the only viable rival to EA's PGA Tour series, has secured the PGA Tour license. Now, the thing about the golf club is its claim to fame is it has an insane course creator, and it's been living off of that. You know, people creating their own courses and, you know, community created course. You know, anytime there's community content, it tends to draw a large crowd, right. A large following. So, yeah, they've taken over the PGA Tour. The company is HB Games. The game is Golf Club 2019. They're going to have licensed PGA Tour pros. They're going to have the FedEx Cup, which is basically PGA Tour's tournament season mode. Okay. You get points for placing in tournaments at the end of the year. There's a big tournament, and the winner gets a cup, and I think it's like $2 or $5 million or something like that. But yeah, it's really interesting.
It's a pretty big move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Yeah, go ahead.
One last thing I wanted to say is that a lot of the developers or the developers that works on it at HB Games or the founders of HB Games were former developers of the PGA Tour series.
Okay, so some of the same developing members and technology will be used in this new series of games. It's weird. I'm not sure, and like you mentioned earlier, whether or not EA backed out or if they lost it. It's kind of hard to tell. I haven't heard anything about the PGA games out of EA for years.
I think the last one was the Rory McIlroy game in 2015. Yeah. And I think the problem is when Tiger Woods was big and it was Tiger Woods Golf, there was a lot more interest in it. And once they lost that big figurehead, I mean, like the casual people that Tiger Woods brought into golf went away. They're no longer interested in golf, and I would be willing to bet that EA just let it go because it's not financially viable anymore.
Right, I would think that's the case here. They probably weren't making a lot of money on it. Didn't see the point in holding on to the license. Saw that somebody else wanted it and just allowed them to have it. Yeah. Because EA is not one for giving up their licenses. So I don't think that this was anything that. Or anything except them trying to save money, you know? They just weren't making money, and so they just decided to get rid of it rather than, you know, keep wasting money on it. Let's hope that this new team, you know, that's actually composed of previous members from the other one. Let's hope that, you know, this game does well. I don't know.
Yeah, the game looks great, and they're gonna have 6 I think official PGA courses on it, and they're saying there's more to come down the road, which could be in the form of DLC.
Yep.
And if you looked at, I watched the announcement video. The game looks great. I mean, I used to play Tiger Woods games until they stopped making them. I did not realize there was a Rory McIlroy game. I probably would have had it, but
I mean, I've never really been into golf simulators. I played like the arcadey Mario Golf and all that nonsense back in the day. I can't remember the last time I've actually purchased any golf title, but not necessarily my interest. But it is good to see somebody else working, you know, in this genre of gaming, because, you know, for the longest time it's just been, you know, PGA golf. Yeah, from EA. So about time to give somebody else a chance, I think. We got more quick hits. Let's go ahead and just move on down the list, because and this was actually a pretty big one, because Fallout 76 has been announced, and this is going to be the newest game in the Fallout series, and according to the lore, this game actually takes place. This is the first vault that opens after the entire like incident. This is the first vault, so a semi prequel to the other games that we've been playing throughout the years.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought this was super interesting. Again, this is another one, and we'll talk about one after this that I think they weren't fully ready for, because they didn't announce anything. They just said Fallout 76. They had this nice video, and the funny thing is, for 24 hours the day before they actually made the announcement, they had up on Twitch just a picture of one of the Pit Boys in front of the TV, right?
Right.
And people were actually watching that, but okay. But yeah. It's interesting. Fallout 7. The last Fallout I played was 3, and Vault 76 was mentioned there. I from what I've read, it was also mentioned in Fallout 4.
Yeah,
but like you said, it's the first vault to open, which was about 20 years after the incident. Whereas in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, those both were
20 years.
Yeah, no, hundreds of years.
Was
Fallout
it?
3. Fallout 3 and 4 was like 200 years after.
Oh, yeah, 200 years. Yeah. I thought it was 20, my bad.
Yes, Fallout 76 is about 20 years. I think they said 20 or 30 years or something like that. So it'd be interesting to go back closer to before, the radiation had a chance to mutate all these crazy looking animals.
Right, and before everything was like all built up and established, and you had like forms of currency in the form of like bottle caps and all that. Yeah. So it'd be really interesting to see. What is also interesting about this game is that apparently it's going to be taking a new approach. There were a lot of rumors that came out of reports from Kotaku, I believe. Was it Kotaku?
Yeah, it's Kotaku, yeah.
Yeah. That said that this game would be more or less a Rust clone, and if you haven't played Rust, it's kind of like a survival. Just like your run-of-the-mill survival game, where you're placed in somewhere, you have absolutely nothing. You have to scavenge and like hoard stuff and build up your neighborhood or whatever. What was also stated was that the game will retain the base building mechanic from Fallout 4. Something that I really never dabbled with. I mean, apparently you could have done like a lot of like cool shit with it, but I've never really got into that. I haven't even beaten the main campaign for Fallout 4. It's just such a huge freaking game. I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, they also was saying that there's going to be a online multiplayer component to it.
Yeah.
Which will be a first for the series, right?
Exactly. Yeah, this will be a first for the series. Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4 have all been single-player adventure games, and this one appears to be taking a new approach. Now, I think Bethesda came out and said something, or somebody said something about like, oh, it's not a Rust clone. So basically, we'll just have to wait and see. The only thing that we've actually seen of the game is the short little teaser trailer showing off what looks like, the same old engine from Fallout 4. It doesn't look too, pretty.
Don't they use the Unreal Engine, right? Or is this their own custom? It's Unreal?
Is it Unreal? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Bethesda games, especially the Fallout games, have never really been all that pretty, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah, they've never really been all that pretty. But hopefully they can get this game out with with less glitches than the standard Bethesda game, because man, like every time they do an open world game, it's just riddled with bugs and glitches, and hopefully.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying hopefully like this time around they can focus on like ironing out a lot of those like kinks that are just like so like expected when you look at these games. Yeah.
Yeah, they use the Gamebryo engine.
Okay.
They don't use Unreal.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good. But yeah, so new Fallout game. We'll probably see more about this at E3. So for now, let's just go ahead and move on to the next story. And this one's pretty interesting too, as well. We're going back in the past yet again. We talked about the Atari, and now it's time to talk about its competitor, which was the Intellivision back in the day.
Yeah, the Intellivision. And every kid wanted the Intellivision was super expensive when it came out.
Really?
It came out around the time the 2600. There was also the ColecoVision, and I think that was it Amiga and Commodore 64. But this was like a apparently the first 16-bit home console. It was 16-bit before people were even counting bits.
Right.
So, yeah, so they've come out and said that they're going to be releasing a system that's affordable for the home, and they're going to have a big announcement on it in October. That's pretty much all that's come out on it.
Yeah.
You can go over to their website, intellivisionentertainment.com, and sign up for updates. And I guess the first 100,000 people to sign up would get the opportunity to purchase an exclusive limited edition version. But in their announcement, they put a whole bunch of stuff. They were the first 16-bit game console. They said the system came out in 1979 and sold all the way through 1990, which that's crazy.
Yeah.
Something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. And television is definitely a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
By the time I was able to play games on my own, I was into Sega Genesis and all that. So definitely before my time. But again, it'll be interesting to see what they plan on bringing to the table. As we've mentioned before, the Atari VCS is bringing a lot of cool features to the table. And not just for the nostalgia freaks,
Right.
They're actually trying to make something substantial. Let's hope and let's pray that Intellivision doesn't just come out of nowhere with a piece of garbage that nobody wants.
Right.
Because that's I mean, Atari, that's old school, but Intellivision, that's older school.
Well, they, like you said, they were like direct competitors. The problem with Intellivision at the time was it was just super expensive. It was like 2 to 3 times the cost of a Atari 2600, which it was competing against. And when you played an Intellivision game, you can tell it was much better. It was great.
The Intellivision had like more rounded out pixels and graphics or whatever. I think one of the biggest things was the Atari version of Pac-Man, which was like garbage. And then the Intellivision
Atari 2600 was garbage.
Yeah, in comparison, but then you looked at the Intellivision version, and it was like almost like closer to the arcade version. So that's what a lot of people wanted back in the day.
The game I remember, because I think it was the babysitter. Babysitter's son had one, and we used to play this baseball. I wish I remember the name of the baseball, but I remember the baseball distinctively because it was the only baseball game available that had the real players.
Oh shit!
And I used to remember he used to pick the Minnesota Twins, and he used to kill me with Kirby Puckett. He was always about Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett. I'm like, who the hell is Kirby Puckett? This dude was mashing home runs on me.
That's pretty funny. But yeah, nothing else on this story as of now. We'll have to wait until more details come out, and when they do, you'll get our opinion on it.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and move on. We have one more quick hit, and this comes out of leak territory.
Yeah.
And I always hate when stuff like this happens, where a company doesn't get the opportunity to surprise you or announce a game in a way that piques your interest. Instead, we have to get the lazy, like, oh, well, it's here. See you at E3. And that's exactly what happened with Ubisoft and the release of, or the announcement of freaking, what's it called?
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes. Which for some reason is showing up on in a weird corner of my screen. I'm trying to fix it. I can't seem to fix it. Okay, here we go. But yeah. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
They released like a 4-second clip of
not even a full 5 seconds.
a dude getting kicked off a cliff, and he's apparently wearing Greek garb. It's supposedly taking place in Greece, ancient Greece, and unfortunately, this leak came from a French gaming site that got a shipment of found a keychain. Just like a little keychain with the Assassin's Creed Odyssey and the Leonidas helmet on it. And of course they posted, oh, look what we got, new Assassin's Creed, and Ubisoft's like, oh, well, it's real, let's let them out.
Yeah.
And we gotta wait 2 weeks. The problem I have with this is now there's so much fervor that's gonna be built up on this. It can do nothing but disappoint.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And we've had a long form about this where stuff comes out way ahead of when the company wants, because when the company makes these games, their marketing plan, they build it based on when they're going to make the announcement and build it up to when the game is going to be released.
Exactly.
Anything earlier than that is a big monkey wrench into what their plans are, and it can cause, like I said, disappointment.
Yeah, or less sales and whatnot.
Right.
I don't know. I thought that Assassin's Creed Origins was excellent. I love that game. I love the combat. I love like a lot of the changes that they made to it to kind of like modernize it a bit. If this thing is going to be Odyssey is going to be anything like Origins, I'm definitely going to be picking it up. It seems like it's going to take place in a time frame where, it just seems really interesting. I can't wait to see.
Greece,
ancient Greece.
I love Greek mythology. It's fun.
It's going to be really cool. And I really want to see just like the move set of the main character. I want to get to know the main character, the assassin, because the main character from Origins, man, like instantly fell into like my top 3 assassins of all time. It was such an awesome story that they told.
Yeah.
So can't wait to actually see what they want to show off. I mean, the 4-second clip definitely piqued my interest because he hit the guy with the Spartan kick off the cliff. Yeah, so he smacked him with the Sparta kick right off of that cliff. So that's pretty cool. But it'll be really awesome to see what they have in store for us.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait until E3 for that. But man, it sucks when it's just like thrown out there instead of given to us like as they intend, because they want the hype train to start rolling, but when you have leaks like this, it's really hard for them.
The good thing is E3 starts in less than 2 weeks, so it's not that much. It's not that far off. It'd be real bad if this came out in March, but the fact that it came out just before, it's like about 10 days before E3, it's a bit easier for them to manage. Yeah.
So we'll definitely be talking about more of this game once we get more details at E3. Our E3 episode is turning out to be quite the spectacle.
Oh yeah, be here for that.
Yeah,
June 17th.
It's gonna be wild. But yeah, that was our quick hits. If you have any stories that you would like to get our opinions on, it will most likely be added to the quick hits section. So reach out to us on our social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskAWGNS to ask us questions. All that jazz. Just let us know what you think. And let's go ahead and move on to the meat and potatoes of the podcast, which is going to be the top 5 news stories for this week. And it is brought to you by our sponsor, brought to you in part by our sponsor, the New Challenger Discord. So let's go ahead and give those guys a shout out real quick. Bam. I love that I have this working now. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to get good at your favorite fighting game with your favorite fighting game character, head on over to newchallenger.gg, join the Discord, and become part of a ever-growing family of video game players and fighting game enthusiasts that would love nothing more than to get you to a solid foundation where you can, perform with your favorite character. They're supporting Street Fighter 5, Injustice 2, Tekken 7, and of course Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is just about ready to start up its second season of the Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament series. So more details on that once that starts. But a huge shout out to Mr. Vinegar, who is the founder of the Discord channel, Discord server, I should say. And as always, a huge shout out to Mount Lover, who's not only a friend of ours here on the Weekly Gaming News Show, but he's also a moderator, a coach, and he hosts the Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament over on newchallenger.tv or New Challenger TV over on Twitch. So make sure that you check that out because you can actually enter in and win actual prizes. So that's the best thing about it. So again, that's newchallenger.gg. Join the Discord and let them know that True Sonic and Boogie sent you. And let's go ahead and move on to our top 5 news stories. And first up, we have, first and second and third up, we're going to be talking about free games.
Free games, free games.
Because there's a lot of free video games going on around the internet. And so we're going to get into all of them. But first up, we have the Games for Gold. So let's go ahead and get into that first. What's up first for Games for Gold?
So Microsoft is doing something kind of different this month.
Okay.
The games with gold this month. On Xbox 360, you got Sonic's All-Star Racing Transform,
Excellent game.
which is available now through the 15th, and Lego Indiana Jones 2, which is available from the 16th through the 30th.
Okay.
Now, for the entire month, the 1st through the 30th, you have Assassin's Creed Chronicles for Xbox One, which is another one of the side-scrolling platforming Assassin's Creeds as opposed to the standard open world ones that we're all used to.
Right.
And then instead of a fourth game, they're giving $100 worth of in-game currency for Smite, which is a MOBA game. Battle of the Gods. It's actually a pretty popular MOBA game. There's actually a Smite League and tournaments, and there's a really strong following. So for those who play that, this is definitely a godsend. But for people that don't play it, me,
yeah, I don't play it either.
Yeah, so I don't.
I don't care.
The thing, I've played it, and it's not a bad game, but everybody who listens to the show knows my feelings on MOBAs.
Yeah,
I don't like. I just don't. I just don't have fun with it. They're not fun to me.
Yeah, I don't really care for MOBAs either. They're not the most fun games in my opinion. But what I do enjoy is Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed, which is an awesome game, and hopefully with it being released on Xbox One via the backwards compatibility, it will get the online mode on and popping, because that thing was dead for like ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the online was dead for that game. The only way that you can play that online was to play the Steam version, because people actually still play that one online. So hopefully this reinvigorates the online for that game, because like, oh god, it's so freaking fun.
Yeah, the thing I want to say about Microsoft's gamble here, we've seen Sony do this with PS Plus, but they've done it in addition. Not
to
in replacement. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So replacing a game for in-game currency for a game that not everybody plays, I don't know if that was the best move. We'll have to see whether or not they continue down this path. But I would say that I'm a little disappointed with the lineup on that front, because not really a huge fan of the 2D Assassin's Creed games.
No.
And I'm not a player of Smite, so this month at least for Microsoft, I'm gonna have to give them like a C. I mean, the freaking All-Stars Racing, definitely a must download, and I'm not too huge of a fan of the Indiana Jones, or not Indiana Jones, but the Lego games.
Series, yeah.
But if you're into that, you're into Indiana Jones. It's nothing but a good time. I've heard nothing but good things about it as far as like how the story is told, and I believe these are the games before they had voice acting.
Yeah.
So I think this one, like in terms of like how the story is told. If you're a fan of Indiana Jones, it should be pretty entertaining. But overall, C minus for the games for gold.
I would probably give it a D. Not because I'm not disparaging any of the games. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Assassin's Creed, Sonic All-Star Racing. I'll take your word on it.
That's
being
fun.
The Sonic connoisseur you are.
Yeah.
And the Lego games are always good. I always download them because my daughter likes to play them.
Okay, yeah.
So those are always good. It's just that, like I said, instead of like the add-on pack, I like the way Sony does it, where it's an addition to, because essentially now we're losing out on a game.
Right. It would have been better if they would just have given us a still giving us a second game, but in addition to that, giving away free in-game currency, because both PlayStation and Twitch do that.
Yeah. Yep. Twitch does it every month.
Twitch every month. Yeah, they get free loot.
Fortnite and Heroes of the Storm right now, running into the end of June, into July. It's beginning of July, I believe. Yeah,
well, we'll get into that here in a second. The second platform that we have up is PlayStation Plus. So let's get into the free games for PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. So PlayStation Plus actually, Sony came hard this month, I should say, because they have for the PlayStation 4 Trials Fusion, which was a Games with Gold game. But if you don't have an Xbox, which a lot of people don't, Trials Fusion is a fun game. It's definitely a fun game. I would definitely say that's a must download. But the other game, XCOM 2, if you like those real-time strategy, turn-based strategy games, XCOM 2 is definitely a must-have. I have it actually for the Xbox One. It is fun. It's super detailed. It's so detailed, like the smallest little screw up and you're screwed, and it's permadeath. So when you lose dudes, you lose dudes.
Yeah, they gone.
Yeah, so it's definitely, if you like those type of strategy games, XCOM 2 is definitely a must get. And Trials Fusion is a fun game to have if you don't have that.
Yeah, fun little like arcade game.
Yeah.
What about the PlayStation 3?
Oh, they're still doing those?
Are they? I don't know.
Yeah, they have for PlayStation 3. They have Zombie Driver HD and Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier, which is actually a pretty good game from last gen.
Yeah.
And then on the Vita, they have Atomic Ninjas and Squares plural. None of the PlayStation 3 or PS Vita games are in the cross-buy platform program, so you have to have either PlayStation 3 or Vita to take advantage of those titles. But I think PlayStation Plus this month, especially on the PlayStation 4, are top notch.
Yeah. Trials Fusion. I mean, you can't go wrong with Trials. I mean, all of those games are super fun. XCOM 2. I've heard good and bad things about XCOM 2, just because of hardcore strategy players don't necessarily like it.
Yeah.
Like Mount Lover, they
dumbed it down a bit. Yes.
Yeah. So he had issues with it, but overall, I did see a lot of people playing this when it launched back in the day.
And last year they made this huge expansion, like almost full game type expansion on it last August. So if you get XCOM 2 for free, you probably want to be able to get that expansion at a good deal too.
Right. Yeah, because I believe PlayStation Plus DLC is like discounted or something like that. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. When if you're an active PS Plus member, yeah, you can get discounts on it. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the free games over on the PlayStation side. So now let's move over to Twitch and see what they got going on.
So Twitch Prime. So if you are a Twitch Prime member, basically if you're an Amazon Prime member,
yep,
you're also a Twitch Prime member, and Twitch actually gives away games now too. This is, I think, the third month. They started in March, right?
Yep.
So this month on Twitch Prime, you're getting Tumblestone, Treadnoughts, Strafe, and Banner Saga 1 and 2. Which Tumblestone I haven't played. I haven't played any of the three Banner Saga games. I have played. Again, these are turn-based strategy games. They're actually pretty good. I enjoy them. If you like that type of game, they're worth having.
Okay.
I mean, all the games are available now because they became available on the 1st, and they're available through the 30th.
Yep. And the cool thing about this, about free games with Prime, is that you can add them to your Twitch library. You don't actually have to install them in order to own the games, which is really cool. You don't have to have everything on your hard drive in order to be able to have it. I haven't played any of these games, including the Banner Saga ones. So
I have the Banner Saga ones on Xbox One, and I like them. I think they're pretty good.
We have somebody in the live chat that wants detailed instructions on how to download the Banner Saga games. Well, first up, you have to have an Amazon Prime account. You have to link your Amazon Prime with your Twitch account, which will give you Twitch Prime, and then all games that we just talked about are free. In addition to in-game loot for Fortnite and for what was the other game?
Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So once you have it linked, once you have your accounts linked, when you go to Twitch, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a crown.
Yep.
You click on that crown, it's going to open up a drop down, and it's going to show you all of this free stuff you have available.
All the free stuff. And now you also have to download the Twitch app on your PC, because that's how you launch the games.
That's how you launch the games, correct.
Yeah. So not too detailed of a process, especially when you're talking about getting free stuff. Exactly. And if Mount Lover's excited about Banner Saga, then it must be good, because he said he's been waiting to play that. He doesn't wait to play a lot of games.
And the great thing about Twitch Prime games, just like Xbox Live, if your Prime subscription runs out, you still get to keep the games.
Right, and they don't have to be on your hard drive like I mentioned earlier. All you have to do is just add them to your library, and they're yours forever, which is something that I really enjoy. But yeah, that was the free games for every platform and its mama.
His mama.
We got, we talked about the games for Gold for Xbox, PS Plus games for PlayStation 4, Vita, and PS3, and the free games from Twitch Prime. So, whichever platform you're on, Xbox, PC, or PlayStation, there are free games for you. Go out and download them and play some games that you've never played before for free. I think it's a pretty good deal.
Definitely.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to something else. And man, we've been talking about this for a long time. You know what? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How did we know that Fortnite is eating PUBG's lunch?
How do we know that they're? Hold on. First off, I got to say what's going on to Glitch Scythe, who just hosted us. How you doing? We are being raided right now. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. If you're just tuning in, this is a weekly gaming news show. I'm Trenell, and I'm with the homeboy Todd, and we're talking about this week's gaming news. Glitch Squad is in the building. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. Let's get a round of applause for all of our new friends tuning in, all of our new buddies. We definitely appreciate you all. We got the raid going on.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and continue where we're left off. So you were talking about how do we know that Fortnite is eating PUBG's lunch?
Yeah,
because they're trying to sue them. That's why.
Yeah. So PUBG Corp, which is a subsidiary of Bluehole, they are the group that manages and does everything Players Unknown Battleground, has filed suit, and actually they filed this suit back in January in South Korea, against Fortnite. Epic Games, stating that the Fortnite's Battle Royale mode is infringing on some of their copyrights, specifically interface and in-game iptems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? Back when Fortnite Battle Royale actually launched, and thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. We got Chip, Temptress. Oh my God, so many follows. Danny Von Doom, Glitch Scythe. Thank you all for following. Appreciate you all. But yeah, back when Battlefront, Fortnite. Back when Fortnite Battle Royale launched, PUBG Corp, or Bluehole back then, before the PUBG Corp actually became a thing, they expressed their displeasure with how Fortnite had just come into the Battle Royale landscape and kind of just like took over. And they actually mentioned that if there were a way for them to file suit, that they would be pursuing that. They said that they if they could, they would pursue it in the future, and the future is now. The almighty Jack, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Bits World, thank you for the follow as well. But yeah, so many homies. I appreciate you all. But yeah, so they mentioned that they would, and now they're following suit. Like for real, they're following suit.
So this is again, it's going to be a difficult proof, because Fortnite is very different from PUBG. The only similarity they sell is that is 1 versus 100, and they fly in.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much it. Other than that, gameplay is super different.
Aesthetics.
And Fortnite has features that PUBG just does not have.
Yeah, like the building mechanic, the fundamental feature.
Right.
But if history is to repeat itself, I do not see this going well for Bluehole, because there was a time back in the day, and a lot of people may not even know this, but the PUBG actually runs on the engine created by Epic Games, the Unreal Engine 4. And so for them to license the Unreal Engine from Epic and then try to sue them for copyright infringement, when they are the ones that just basically took assets from the Unreal marketplace and just placed it into their engine. It's like, I don't see this working out well for these guys, man.
Right. There's a whole lot of stuff, and then again, it's really hard for them to prove. Like it'd be like Star Trek or Star Wars suing Star Trek for making a space movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So
No, and a lot of people will say that PUBG wasn't the first because this is actually it was a mod.
from it was I think it was off of Armor. It was
Armor
an Armor
mod.
mod.
Yeah, it was Armor
it was
mod.
H1Z1 is the father or of the battle royale genre.
Big air quotes there.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this shakes out, but I don't think they're going to go anywhere.
No.
They need to stop paying those lawyers and start paying more developers.
Yes, that's exactly what they need to do because PUBG is still a horrendously broken mess. It's glitchy, it's buggy, and on console, it's even worse. I was talking about the PC version there. Yeah, and on consoles, it's even worse. So I don't see this going well for Bluehole or PUBG Corp. It doesn't seem like they really have the grounds to call out Fortnite for anything because they themselves did not originate or come up with the concept of the battlegrounds or battle royale mode, and they are literally copying and pasting assets from someone else's work into their game. It doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. It's not going to work though. And especially if Epic Games decides to file a countersuit.
Yeah,
it's going to be downhill for them guys for quite some time. And we probably won't see any breaking news out of this for some years.
For years, yeah.
I think we talked about this the last suit against Epic Games from the developer of Beyond Two Worlds or something like that. Was that what it's called?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but it was
Beyond Two Souls, some shit like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the guys that tried to sue Epic Games over the Unreal Engine. I think this was Unreal Engine 3, and apparently they had an issue with Epic Games because they supposedly withheld certain features or whatever because they decided to put all of their manpower into developing Gears of War instead of furthering the development of the Unreal Engine, and it caused their game to flop because Beyond whatever, that game flopped like hell, and then they tried to sue Epic for it. It's not going to go well for those guys. So this is just the beginning of a long story, and of course, anytime that there's any updates to it, we will give our opinion on it because that's what we do here. We report the news and we give our opinion, and we would like to know what you guys think about it as well. So if you're in the live chat, you want to ask us any kind of questions, you can do so by using the hashtag AskAWGNS. We do have a dedicated spot in the live stream where we will answer some of your questions. So if you're in the live chat, and we got a few of you in here now, ask us anything that you would like. We would really appreciate some feedback from you guys. So let's go ahead and move into the last story in our top 5. It is Boogie's favorite company, man. Boogie's favorite company. I love anytime we get to talk about Nintendo because Boogie is such a fan of Nintendo, and we have a lot of Nintendo news. Well, not a lot, but we have a few stories coming out of Nintendo, more specifically coming out of the world of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are watching on Twitch or on YouTube, because we are multi-streaming, I am not going to be showing any footage of Pokemon. I'm not going to be showing any footage. I'm going to be showing still images, and that's it, because Nintendo is horrendous. They're horrendous, about going out and just blocking or taking off any kind of content or re-uploaded content or anything. So I'm not going to be showing any footage. If you want to see it, you can go ahead and go to the official Pokemon YouTube channel to watch the trailers. We won't be showing them off here.
Yeah, it seems like Nintendo. They not only do they block for copyright. If you're not a I guess favorite
Nintendo partner or something, whatever.
They don't allow you to use that stuff either. They can go, man, listen. Yeah. Anyway,
so basically we got some new games coming out in the world of Pokemon for the Nintendo Switch. The first one up is kind of a weird one. Pokemon Quest.
Yeah, it's a free-to-play action RPG. All the characters are black. It reminds me of Minecraft. A
Yeah,
little more rounded.
Minecraft. Yeah,
Um,
what's that game? Trove or something like that.
yeah, Trove. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly. And I guess it's available on the Switch right now. iOS and Android versions will be coming out later this month.
right.
Um,
What do
but
you do? What is this?
it, I don't know. It's
I don't know anything about this.
no, I don't, and I didn't bother look it up because it's something I would never ever touch.
Yeah.
Basically, you're basically taking Pokemon and adventuring in the map. You'll make friends, you'll fight. It's like a RPG game, right? Just run around RPG, fighting with Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's using, and it looks like they didn't mention, but I would think there's got to be some kind of cross-platform play on it.
Yeah, because with the mobile version.
Right, with the mobile versions, yeah, but it's not mentioned. So, I mean, try it out. If you are trying it out, let us know what you think, because it's something that I refuse to touch, especially after the events of this weekend.
Yeah.
Nintendo can you kiss my ass.
Yeah. For those of you that are new, full disclaimer. Full disclosure, we are not huge fans of Nintendo over here. They've done some things in the past that have made us very, very angry towards them. And this next story that we're going to talk about, the next game that they announced, is one of those reasons. So Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee are going to be the fully realized 3D console games that you always wanted, except you're going to be going back to Kanto, which is the first world, and this will be the fourth time that they've made a full release title where you are in Kanto. So I'm really pissed off about that. But it will have some of the features from Pokemon Yellow, where the Pokemon can like ride on your shoulder or he'll follow you or whatever. But to me, it's like it's the same old. You know, you're going through Kanto. They did show off a co-op mode where one person can control another character using a Joy-Con, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be local only. So hopefully you got a big enough couch for all your friends, because that's the only way you're going to be playing co-op on this game. And they also mentioned some kind of like connectivity with Pokemon Go.
Right.
So if you're one of the people that are still playing Pokemon Go, you will be able to transfer over some of your Pokemon. I'm not exactly sure how, because a lot of the Pokemon in Pokemon Go are not from the Kanto region.
Right.
So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that.
Well, probably just like a select feature, right?
Yeah, just select features or whatever. But I don't know. This seems. I mean, and if I was showing off the actual like in-game assets, you could tell that it's using the exact same engine from the 3DS games, the exact same character models. It does look a little prettier because, of course, it's going to be on a bigger screen, so it has to be upscaled. But it's the same. It's the same thing, and this is one of the things that I've been talking about. Nintendo is making a killing off of reselling you the same experiences over and over again.
At full price.
At full price, you know, and that's something that I just can't get behind, man. I mean, the last Pokemon game, which one? Was it Sun and Moon?
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
To me, was not fun. It wasn't a fun game. It's like...
Didn't they sell like 3 versions of it?
They had Sun and Moon, and then they had Ultra Sun and Moon. I don't know about a third. Okay. But yeah, it's the same old. We're going back to Kanto, so you know, right. I don't know what else to say about this, man. I was really expecting something fresh, something new, a new region, or like a remake of a game that hasn't been done yet, like Diamond and Pearl. Thank you, Mori Jin. Diamond and Pearl remake would have been awesome. I think Diamond and Pearl was probably one of my favorites. Next to Gold and Silver, which has already been redone. But I don't know, man. I'm not okay. I'm not cool with this.
No. I don't really care about Pokemon. I do see this again as Nintendo's MO is just a money grab. You know, they want money. They have some titles or IPs that they know is guaranteed cash in the bank, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was two more things. They announced another Pokemon game, a new Pokemon game coming out in 2019. There's not much on that at all.
Is this for the Switch as well?
Yeah, this is for the Switch.
Okay.
That's it. It just says 2019 new Pokemon RPG title, second half 2019. That's coming. And then the last thing they announced was a Pokemon Ball Plus controller.
Pokeball Plus, yeah.
Yeah. So Pokeball Plus controller. So basically, and this works with your Switch, but it also works with your phone. So it'll work with
Pokemon
the Pokemon
Go?
Let's Go version, and it will also work with Pokemon Go. It's basically a Pokeball. It vibrates and lights up when you get close up a Pokemon. You can throw to catch it. There's no price. It's coming out in November, the same day that November 16th, the same day that the Let's Go Pokemon Let's Go comes out. And if you want an extra piece of plastic for probably, I'm guessing it's gonna be $50 at least.
$50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo, $50. Remember, they're selling the dock with a couple of ports on it for $80.
True that.
$50.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that's going to be available if you're that into Pokemon and you want your nice fancy Pokeball.
Yeah, and it'll light up when you catch the Pokeball. It has like motion controls, so when you throw it, you get the motion in game. I don't know. This seems like a lot of cool stuff that would have been awesome like 10, 15 years ago, but I don't know, man. Going back to Kanto, that threw me off instantly because like they've already done that 3 times before. You had the original, and then you had the GBA version, and then you had the DS version. So going back to Kanto again, not my jam. I've already caught all 151 of those Pokemon multiple times. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good. I'm gonna pass. This is coming from a avid Pokemon fan. Like I've played every game in the series. I was hoping this would be the open world Pokemon game that everybody wanted, and the fact that it would be on the Switch meant. Thank you, Glitch Scythe, for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate you. It would mean that you could play it on your TV or take it on the go like the original Pokemon. It was in theory it could have been the best Pokemon game ever, but instead it's just a red and blue remake again. So I'm good. I'm good on that.
Yeah, I guess I like I said, I have zero interest in Pokemon. I tried to see if my youngin would be interested. She said no. So good, save me some money.
Yeah, save you some money. Yeah. No, thank you, Nintendo. That's what we call Nintendo over here, Nintendo, because that's all they care about is that money. But yeah, so that's all the Pokemon news that we have. Unfortunate, because I know how much Boogie likes talking about it. But that is going to be our top 5 news stories for this week. If you have any stories that you would like to submit to us, you can do so by hitting us up on our social media. Twitter is the very best way to reach out to us. You can use the hashtag AskAWGNS. We do monitor and track that hashtag. So anytime you want to ask us a question about anything gaming related or pop culture related, you can do so using that hashtag on Twitter. But with that said, let's go ahead. We can move into our next topic, which is going to be This Week in Loot Boxes. And this one is brought to you by Star Citizen. So let's go ahead and get into that. What's going on this week in Loot Boxes? Your mic's muted.
This is not really I have a cough fit. I don't want to subject you guys to that. Sorry.
It's all good.
So this isn't necessarily a loot box story, more that it is a what the hell story. So Star Citizen is an expansive space sim that's been going on PC for ages. So if you've spent $1,000 in the game, you have the option to spend $27,000 more. That's right, not $27,000 for a DLC bundle that's going to get you 117 ships, which is nearly every ship in the game, and additional 163 items from various items used for upgrading, fueling, and building your particular fleet. I mean, $27,000, I can go and buy myself a Ford Taurus.
Right.
I can buy a Toyota Camry for that. I don't know who's going to spend $27,000 on this stuff. There's at least one person out there that probably is. And if I'm not mistaken, Star Citizen has guilds, and they have large guilds that make money outside of the game, like selling supplies and doing other stuff. So they have a large guild. I can see if the guild has been profitable, they may put the money together to buy this and dish out to their members or use them for whatever they do in Star Citizen. But $27,000 for some pixels is wow.
Yeah, for some models. Yeah. That's a little much, man. That is a little much if you ask me. And it's only available for those who have already spent $1,000 or more.
Or more, yeah. And what's it? How do you know that it has that packet of? I'll just what? What's his name? Sithel. He specifically stated. Thank you very much for the
live update.
The live update is that this is something that was requested by players of Star Citizen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely, there's a very dedicated group of players that play this game, and like they do have their guilds, or I forgot what they call them in Star Citizen. Yeah. And I can imagine that there's groups of them out there that's going to be buying this particular package.
Yeah, but that's a lot of money, man. 27,000. Yeah, on a DLC bundle, or a bundle of, like, I don't know, man. I don't think there should ever be the option to spend 27 grand all at once on anything in a video game.
In a video game, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little much, man.
That's quite a bit. Yeah, but I mean, I guess if they asked for it, they got what they wanted. And I can imagine the developer's not expecting to sell thousands of these. They figure they'll sell only a few of them, but I guess to have that option is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's an option, is not forcing anybody's hand. So I mean, especially if they ask for it, I guess that this is, the community getting what they asked for. But yeah. So yeah, really no real loot box related stories for you guys this week. We normally use this segment to give updates and give news stories on the entire loot box debacle that started with the downfall of EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2. Since then, we've been covering the developing stories coming out of that, in addition to other stories related to loot boxes. So that's what this segment is for. But we thought it would be interesting to talk about this 27 grand for Star Citizen story. So that's why we put this here. But if you go ahead.
There hasn't been anything new on loot boxes.
No, not yet. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on in the courts that hasn't been and probably won't be finished with for quite some time. So in the meantime, if there's anything that you guys would like us to talk about in this segment related to loot boxes, or any kind of like DLC or any kind of practice like that, let us know and we'll add it to the segment, and we'll talk about it here on the show. But that was this week in loot boxes. Want to thank Star Citizen for being our sponsor for not really, but for being our topic of discussion for this segment. And now we can go ahead and move on to the next segment, which is going to be our long form discussion. And just as a reminder for anybody that's watching us in the live chat, you can ask us questions. Just make sure that you use the hashtag #AWGNS. That way we can see it in chat, and then we'll add it to the show. We will answer some of your guys' questions if you have any for us. But for right now, let's go ahead and jump into the long form discussion. And Boogie, this one comes from you, so why don't you go ahead and introduce it for us?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the myth of the console war, or the console wars. It's been a thing since I can remember. Back when it was Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
Oh, that was the bit wars, man.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and it's always continued. These days, Nintendo is kind of out of the picture.
But that's like by choice. Like they're always the ones that be like, oh yeah, we're not directly competing with anybody. Blah blah blah. That's their stance on it.
That was their argument after they got trounced with the Nintendo 64. after they got because Nintendo 64 was supposed to compete, right? That's why it was a 64-bit system.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
still going to use cartridges. You don't have to worry about loading your game like on the PlayStation, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they got trounced. And ever since then, they've gone with these quirky systems, the GameCube, the Wii, the Wii U, the Switch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the myth of the console war. So the thing is, everybody always wants to pick a winner or loser. And if you look at particularly at sales, is what is everybody's metric is, which one sells the most? You know, right now Sony, the PlayStation 4, from all reports, is selling anywhere from 3 to 1 against the Xbox One. For every Xbox One sold, there's either 2 or 3 PlayStation 4 sold. The Switch is way behind because
it hasn't even been out a year.
Yeah, it's been 3 years off, 3 years behind, right? 2017, yeah. So if you're looking just at the sales, you would say that PlayStation 4 is the winner. People would say, and everything else is just subjective. Objective. You say, PlayStation 4 has the better games. Well, Xbox One has the better online service, and Switch has the better classic IPs. All of these arguments are all rooted in opinion. There's nothing really factual about the arguments that's going to give you a win or not. And my thing is, where did the console wars come from, and why is it such a big deal? Why does it matter so much?
In terms of like companies directly competing with each other, like it didn't get to a I don't know, because there's always been competition. You know, we talked about the Intellivision, and we talked about the ColecoVision and the Atari 2600, like back in the day. Those were the direct competition. But after the crash, the game crash, I forget.
Atari.
Yeah, thank you, Atari.
It's like 83.
Something like that. And the rise of Nintendo, Nintendo was pretty much on top. They were the ones that basically revitalized the gaming market and kind of just like, standardized everything. The only person to ever come into direct competition with them was Sega. And I believe it was their American marketing team that actually coined the term Bit Wars. I could be wrong about that, but they were the ones that was like, 16-bit. When they released the Sega Genesis, like, you don't want a Nintendo, that's for kids, that's 8-bit, here's 16 bits.
Right.
And it actually had it like on the front of the Genesis. It said 16-bit like console. So I want to say that was like the marketing ploy was to just coin that term. We have more bits, so we're better. And that's where the Sega Nintendo, everybody knows the whole history behind that.
Yeah, Sega does when Nintendo don't.
But Nintendo, man, that thing is stuck into my head for years, man. Nintendo don't. I was like, damn, that's hardcore.
Right.
I remember back in the day when the Sony PlayStation came out, and you had Crash Bandicoot, like the guy in the Crash suit, going up to the Sega and to the Nintendo of America buildings
with the blowhorn.
With the blowhorn, and just like, and like, the commercials where everybody's just like throwing their freaking Nintendo, Super Nintendos and Genesis in the trash. Like, those are kids' toys. We have the freaking video games for like grown-ups, and that's where you had games like Twisted Metal and stuff like that, like becoming more prominent because those are games for like, like the teenagers. Like, we're not kids. We don't play Mario. Yeah. So then you had stuff like that. Yeah, because then like after everything like left cartridge and went to CD, it was more about like creating more like visually stunning games, like the graphics and this and that. And so I don't know. It's just it was just a term that was coined to create. It was just a marketing ploy in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't.
Just like blast processing.
Yeah,
that thing didn't even really exist. They just came. We got blast processing. It's like, what even is that?
Right. So my thoughts of the console war, I think it boils down to, or is born from the fact that a lot of kids, it starts as a child, right? A lot of kids, they don't have jobs, they don't have money,
right?
And most times they're only able to get one system. Their parents aren't going to go and buy every system,
right?
Like most middle class, you're either going to get a Nintendo, a Sega, or a PlayStation, or Xbox. That's all you're going to get. So the idea of console wars to me comes from that particular limitation, where it's like you're trying to justify why you have the system you have, right? My system is the best because I got this one because it's the best, and it's the best because A, B, and C. And and if you don't have it, you're wrong, or you suck, or yours sucks because it doesn't do A, B, or C. You know,
Right.
and I mean, it all boils down to personal preference, in my opinion. I mean,
personal preference, and like Sithel said in the chat, brand loyalty.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Exactly. And I honestly think, and I enjoy having multiple consoles because it does a couple of things. It does one, it creates competition, and it makes each console maker innovate. Yeah. Right? They have to come up with something. I mean, if it was just Nintendo, we probably wouldn't have a Nintendo Switch right now. If it was just Sony, we wouldn't have all of the features that that Microsoft is throwing into the Xbox to kind of try to make up for the lack of games, such as the backwards compatibility program they have, all of the other ancillary features that they put inside the Xbox with the party chats and the built-in LFG and the built-in streaming service and all of that stuff.
Built-in mixer integration.
Right, exactly. Those things we may not see because there's no point in them doing it if it's just them. So the competition definitely breeds innovation for sure.
Yeah.
And as far as the console wars, I think it's just a myth. There's no one that's better than the other. At the end of the day, they all have their pros and cons, and at the end of the day, it's going to be what's best for you.
Right, and that's what I used to say because I used to work at GameStop back in the day. It's all about personal preference, and really, it's all about the individual games you want to play and where all of your friends are also playing those games. So, like, if you're into Call of Duty and all of your friends have PlayStation, I would advise you get a PlayStation because that's the only place you're going to be able to play with all your friends.
Play with your friends, right?
So that's really what it's all about, especially nowadays where you don't have a lot of people coming over to people's house. Well, at least people my age. You don't have like get-togethers and LAN parties and all that.
Well, the thing is, the way games are made these days, they're made that discourages that. There's very few couch co-op games anymore.
Man, I think there's too many couch co-op games, man. There's like well in the indie department.
No, I'm talking about like big titles.
Oh, of course.
When we're looking at the stuff that everybody's playing, like when you look at Fortnite and your Call of Duties and your Overwatches and all of that big stuff, a lot of that, even like when you go to games like Assassin's Creed and Destinies and Anthems and all of these games that's coming out, GTA, that could easily support couch co-op, they don't.
Right. Say that to the kid that got the Philips CDI.
That's funny. I had one. I had a Panasonic one.
Did you really? Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
No, not the CDI, the 3DO.
Oh, the 3DO, yeah. I never had any of those things, man. I went from NES to Sega Genesis to 64 to Dreamcast. That was like my console history right there. That's pretty damn funny, though.
The stuff that I've owned, let's see, if I could, 5200, Nintendo, the NES, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Panasonic 3DO.
Yeah, see, Boogie had money, y'all.
Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. I had a PlayStation 2. I had a Sega CD and 32X.
Ooh, why? Why?
I was a Sega fanboy. I
was a Sega fanboy for that Genesis and that Dreamcast. That's about it, man.
I had a 64. I had Wii. I didn't have a Wii U. Mm-hmm. I've never owned any of the Nintendo.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I've had a lot. I mean, right now I have a lot. I have 4, right? I have the Switch. I have the one. I have the PS4, and I have the VR, the PSVR.
Yeah. You even dabbled into the VR.
Yeah.
But yeah, I currently have all the consoles of the current generations. This is actually my first PlayStation though. Yeah, so this is my first PlayStation. I never owned a PlayStation 1. I owned a PlayStation 2 very briefly. I bought it used at GameStop just to play a couple of games, like a couple of exclusive games, like Shadow of the Colossus. I wanted to play that on PS2. I think Kingdom Hearts, I went back and played those. But
Right.
then I ended up getting rid of it, and I didn't have a PlayStation 3, but I did commandeer Mount Lover's PS3 for about 4 or 5 months because he let me borrow it to play The Last of Us, and then I just kept it for a while. He wasn't
Right.
using it.
He wasn't using it.
He
Yeah.
wasn't using it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The PlayStation 3, I had no plans to buy it, and Microsoft kind of ticked me off with their
yeah,
Red Ring of Death thing. I think I've talked about it on the show, and I got a
yeah.
PS3, and I want going back to the 360. My PS4, this is my second one. The first one I got rid of because I didn't play it.
hmm
But when I got a PS4 again because I had to play Horizon Zero Dawn.
So good, man.
And I loved that game. I loved it to the end. And I definitely have to play the Spider-Man game. I mean,
Yeah, man.
it looks great. And baseball. It's the only place I can get
Only
baseball.
place you can get baseball.
Mhm.
Nobody's doing baseball besides Sony.
Yep.
But yeah, so basically the console wars in our collective opinion was both a marketing ploy to basically, create that brand loyalty, like, oh, this is better than this is better than that. And it was also due to the limitations of the modern family. Not everybody could have, everything.
Personal
Except for Boogie. Boogie had everything.
No, I didn't have everything. I had a lot though.
But not a lot of people can have everything. I mean, back in the day, I had the Sega Genesis for a while. That was like my only console for a long time. And then like after that, I started getting like every generation I would get one of them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so
that's
what
how it
happened.
was. Remember, I'm a little bit older than you, so
Yeah.
by the time the Sega Saturn came out, I think.
Yeah, no, I skipped all of that.
Yeah,
I didn't get the Saturn, I didn't get the CD or the 32X.
By the time that stuff came out, I was working, right? So I was in school and
Damn.
working. So I had money on my own, and I didn't buy clothes and I didn't buy drugs. I bought game systems.
It's like, nah, man, I don't need those Jordans, dog. What I do need is that 32X, though. That thing looking tight.
That's exactly it, too. I was wearing some BKs.
Oh, Lord. That is so funny, man. That is funny.
I was rocking the what do you call those shoes from Payless? I was rocking the Payless sneakers.
Bobos, man. He's rocking those Bobos, dog. Oh, man, we would have cut you up in school, man. You come in here with those Bobos, man. Oh, that is so funny. But yeah, that's our long form discussion. We would love to know what you guys think. What is your perspective of, or what do you think of when you think of the console war? Like, what was the meaning of it? Like, what did it try to do in your opinion? You can leave comments down in the comment section below if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can hit us up on Twitter. We are at AWGNS. You can also hit us up on Facebook at A Weekly Gaming News Show, or you can use our call letters AWGNS. All the information is other side. Down in the bottom screen there, you can see right underneath Boogie, you can see all of our information. Go ahead and follow us and let us know what you think of the show. We would definitely appreciate that feedback. But now we can go ahead and get into the next and the final segment of the show. That's going to be our final thoughts. And this segment is really good for anybody who's just joining us, because what we're going to do is we're going to go back, we're going to retrace our step, and just give our final 2 cents on each one of the stories that we talked about today. So, Boogie, I'll let you go ahead and tackle that first. What are your final thoughts on this week's show?
Okay, the first I want to go all the way back to the updates we had. Our 2 updates, the 3 charge in the Wichita SWAT, and I just hope they have the book thrown and they get maximum sentences. Just because we need to make an example out of them to prevent other people from doing the same thing. And right. If you're joining late, the SWAT incident back in December, where the man in Wichita, Kansas was killed by the SWAT team after having police called to his house over a Call of Duty game. Right. The second Switch bundle not being released in the United States, not being released outside of Japan makes a ton of sense, because at least here in the United States, the opposite is true, where you want multiple docks and only one Switch versus multiple Switches and only one dock. Mm-hmm. The Atari VCS having a successful pre-order campaign. Now, like I said, it's over 9,000 backers, almost $2.5 million. There's a market for it. I still need to see more. EA losing or bowing out is still unclear of the PGA Tour license. It's a bit surprising, but it's not surprising considering that I look back and they hadn't made a game in 3 years.
Right.
So Fallout 76 being announced is cool. I guess we'll see more in a couple of weeks. A new Intellivision coming. That just seems like another Me Too.
Yeah, just following in the footsteps of the Atari right now.
Yeah, I think it started with the Nintendo classic versions and then the Atari VCS and now Intellivision. I just keep my eye open for that ColecoVision.
Yeah, but need that ColecoVision
and that Neo Geo.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you're gonna make a Neo Geo, because remember the cartridges was like this damn big.
Yeah, that was. The Assassin's Creed Odyssey leak. I'm a bit disappointed because it's very clear that Ubisoft was trying to hold it until E3. It might have been like a surprise announcement even, and it kind of got out there.
Yeah, that sucks.
June's games with gold are a bit disappointing. Is a couple of good games in there, but I don't like them replacing a full game with a DLC pack, especially a DLC pack for a game that I don't play.
Right.
That's just me being selfish. The PS Plus games, on the other hand, I think both games are top-notch titles. XCOM 2 and Trials Fusion, if you don't have them and you own a PS4, go get them. The Twitch Prime games, I'm glad you got it all squared away there.
Yeah, he got it.
Mount Lover.
Yep.
Banner Saga and Banner Saga 2 are actually pretty good. I enjoyed them. I think you probably will too. And everybody out there, I think you guys will enjoy it if you like those turn-based strategy type games. The other three, I don't have much.
It's like I've never played them, so
yeah, never
not much
played
to say about it.
I've heard about it, but yeah, I don't have much to say about them because I haven't touched them. PUBG is having their lunch eaten by Fortnite. I think a lawsuit is what they should be doing. What they should have done is catch the console version up with the PC version so they can allow cross-plat play and just fix your damn game.
Yeah.
Nintendo and the new Pokemons for Nintendo Switch. Again, this is their MO. A bunch of nothing for full price. And that's all I have. The $27,000 DLC. I mean, if people are asking for it, that's great. I still think it's a bit excessive.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Game. And Star Citizen is, I think that's even still in early access. I don't think it's a finished game.
Jesus. so you have people out there that have spent over $1,000 on a early access game, and now they get the opportunity to spend $27,000 more.
Yeah.
So much fun. But yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on most of your points there. It seems like everybody that was involved with that man getting killed in the swatting incident will be held accountable, which is a good thing. And like you said, it prevents other people from doing it. Because swatting has been around for quite some time. This is one of the first times where we've actually seen up front what's happening and who's getting punished, and everybody involved is getting punished. So I'm okay with that. The second Switch releasing outside of Japan, or not to be released outside of Japan, also makes sense, because why the hell would I buy a dockless Switch that doesn't take the full price of the dock away from the Switch? It doesn't make any sense to me. I would never do that, and they probably understood that nobody would do that over here in America, so that's why they're going to keep it in Japan.
I don't understand why one person would need to own two Switches. I still don't get that concept.
For a lot of the games that because like you own two Switches in your house, right?
Yeah,
my wife, and a lot of your games and your cloud saves or your saves, if you don't subscribe to the online service, you're not going to be able to like cross play or do anything like that. It's weird, man. The Switch has so many glaring issues. If you want to know all of our hatred towards the Switch, just watch any number of our previous podcast episodes. We talked about it quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't make sense for them to bring that out here. The Atari VCS having the successful pre-order campaign. I mean, it seems like going with Indiegogo was the right move.
Yeah.
And they've made quite a pretty penny.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that all of the third party partners that they mentioned will follow suit and release their games. onto the VCS, and hopefully in the near future we can get brand new releases to come out on the VCS. In addition to coming out everywhere else,
from some of the major publishers, right?
Right, from major publishers. That would be very dope. Yeah, the EA losing or bowing out to the PGA Tour license, I'm more inclined to believe that they bowed out just because it wasn't making them any money. They were holding on to a license, they weren't doing anything with it. So now somebody, these are people that actually were working at EA are going to have the opportunity to do something with that. Hopefully it works out. I'm not a big fan of golf, so you won't see me purchasing it, but that's just me. Fallout 76. I'm a lot of leaks and theories about this game and how it's going to play came out over the last week. It'll be interesting to see how it's presented at E3 because that's where we're going to get the big press release and all that. Because a lot of people are upset and a lot of people are confused about what this game is actually going to be. Is it going to be a multiplayer, Rust clone? Is it going to be, your run-of-the-mill Fallout game? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The Intellivision following in the footsteps of the Atari VCS. I'm going to be honest. I did not expect this. A lot of people that are currently playing games might not even know what an Intellivision is unless they watch the Angry Video Game Nerd on YouTube. That's when I figured out what it was. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what features comes with it. I can't wait to see more news on that. Yeah, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey being leaked, that sucks, man, because I can just imagine how hype it would have been to have that announced on a stage, especially if it was on the Microsoft stage. That would have been one of like the E3 moments for Microsoft. And to be truly honest, it's one of the moments that they probably needed. Because they need games. It would have been interesting, or it would have been really hyped to have that on their stage.
Microsoft is saying they got some stuff, so we
gonna have to wait and see.
That's 10 days, right? It's the 12th through the 14th. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Microsoft goes on. The 12th is what? Tuesday. Microsoft is going on. I think they're going on next Sunday, right? They have their own thing next Sunday. Yeah. So next week.
Yeah, next week we're gonna see. For all of the free games, I will say for the Xbox side, if you don't have Sonic All-Stars Racers Transform, you should go ahead and download that. That is a very fun game. The PS Plus games for June that are free. I'm not a huge fan of XCOM, not a huge fan of strategy, but I did hear a lot of things about it, both good and bad. So I don't know. It's free, so you should definitely try it out. But Trials, I mean, you can never go go wrong with the
Trials Fusion is super fun.
Trials Fusion, yeah, it's the epitome of like a chill like a cool down game.
Exactly.
You're doing your thing in Call of Duty or whatever or Street Fighter, and then you just like relax and play some Trials Fusion. It is the perfect cool down game in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great description. Yeah.
Yeah, and out of the games for Twitch Prime, I'm gonna have to say that I really want to try Strafe. It looks like those old school like Doom games from back in the day, like one of those like Doom clones or like Quake or whatever. Yeah. It looks pretty interesting. A lot of blood and a lot of weird looking graphics. So it'll be really. I'm probably gonna download that if anything out of the free games from Twitch Prime, and yeah. PUBG filing suit against Fortnite. It seems like a bad move for them, and it's only going to steal away like attention from what they should be paying attention to, which is like the progression of this game. I mean, it's still in early access on console. So they haven't gotten it up to snuff on console yet. It's not even fully optimized on console. It doesn't have any type of cross-play, and it's not on PlayStation.
Nope.
So they're definitely playing catch up. And this lawsuit, it might be the demise of them. If I'm being truly honest.
I don't think it'll be a demise because there's still a ton of people and they still got a lot of They got Microsoft money and they got, I think, was it Tencent, the Chinese company?
Yeah, true.
So they got big back and they're making a ton of money. It's just Fortnite is making more money than them.
Yeah, Fortnite's just making way more money. Yeah, I guess. I guess it could be the end of them as a direct competitor because they'll definitely solidify themselves as the number 2. And
I think it'd be the Call of Duty Battlefield type thing where Call of Duty, everybody plays Call of Duty, and a lot of people play Battlefield, but everybody plays Call of Duty.
Yeah, let's just hope that Epic doesn't file a countersuit because they're definitely going to win that. They're definitely going to win that. And as far as the new Pokemon games, like, fuck all 3-4 of those announcements. I'm not impressed. I'm actually kind of pissed off. And thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Lil what? I cannot read that. Lil something. Lil Burblium? I cannot read that. You're going to break my jaw trying to read that. The text is really small over there. But thank you for the follow. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the raid from the homie Glitch Scythe, who raided us with a party of 38. Thank you all for chilling with us and hanging out. We really do appreciate it. But we're going to go ahead. That was our final thoughts. And so now we're going to go ahead and close things out. If you want to reach out to us, the best way to do so is on our Twitter. We are at AWGNS. Reach out to us, follow us there. Any kind of news and updates that you want to get from us will be there. There's actually going to be some changes happening here very soon. So if you want to keep up to date, make sure that you're following us on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow the page because every week we do post our show notes. So any extra details that you want to get more information on any of the stories that we talked about, the sources to those stories will be on our Facebook page. And also make sure that you're following us on YouTube or subscribe to the channel because if you don't have an hour and a half or 2 hours to sit through an entire podcast, Boogie does an abridged version, which is the weekly gaming news 10 and 10, which is where he takes 10 stories and he has 10 minutes or less to give you the cliff notes, as to say, on some of the stories that we'll be talking about on the full show. Yep. Just as a quick reminder, the show goes live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The episodes go up on YouTube and to all of your favorite podcasting devices and sites every Monday at noon. And the weekly gaming news 10 and 10 goes up on YouTube every Saturday at noon.
Unless the Pokemon company blocks it.
Yeah, unless the Pokemon company blocks it worldwide. That's exactly what happened. He posted the gaming news 10 and 10. I got the notification and I couldn't watch it. It said it's blocked worldwide. I was like, damn, what did you do? But yeah, that's how you can get in touch with us. If you want to get in touch with me directly, I'm on Twitter as well, at @the_YTOS. And Boogie, how can we get in touch with you?
I am actually on Twitter. I'm at @itisboogie. _is_boogie. Yes. I am there. I post a lot of hate to Donald Trump. So if you want to follow me and you want to get some entertaining hate tweets to Donald Trump
and Nintendo,
and Nintendo, yeah, follow me. It's like because I follow a lot of politics. I won't talk about it here, but it's my screaming into a pillow. I know he's never going to see it, but you know how you just got to get that scream out into the pillow. Yeah, that's your
Twitter. Okay, so if you want to hear the inner thoughts of Boogie on today's politics, make sure you follow him there. But yeah, that's gonna be the show for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate the raid. Shout out to Glitch Scythe, who hosted us for his viewers. I definitely appreciate it. And thanks to all of you that followed us, all of our new homies, and we hope to see you all back here next week. But yeah, until then, we are your hosts with the most. My name is Trenell.
I'm Todd.
And we will catch you all next week.
Peace.
Peace out.